What if you suddenly lost everything and had no one by your side? It was a question Dr. Emma Lawson had wrestled with before, during lonely nights when the weight of her work and her past seemed too heavy to bear. But tonight, the question wasn't just personal, it echoed through the very fabric of humanity. Deep inside the dimly lit Space Exploration Institute in Houston, the hum of computers and faint chatter filled the air. Emma sat at her terminal, eyes glued to lines of code and waves of data flowing from the vast emptiness beyond. For years, she had dedicated her life to chasing signals from the final frontier, chasing the faint whispers of ancient spacecraft like Voyager 2, which had journeyed farther than anything else humanity had sent into the cosmos. Launched back in 1977, Voyager 2 had once been the pride of human ingenuity. It flew past the outer planets, sending back breathtaking images and invaluable data, then slipped beyond the solar system and into interstellar space. For decades, its transmissions had grown fainter, until they finally stopped, or so everyone thought. Tonight was different. The room was quiet except for the steady hum of machines and Emma's own breath. Suddenly, the calm was shattered by a sharp, urgent beep from her terminal. Her fingers froze above the keyboard. The screen flashed an alert, a signal, unmistakably from Voyager 2, had been detected. It wasn't a glitch or background noise. It was real, and it was new. Emma's heart hammered in her chest as she stared at the strange transmission. The transmission was faint, irregular, and unlike anything recorded before. At first glance, it seemed to be a complex pattern, something almost like a code. She called her colleague Marcus on the secure line. "Marcus, you need to see this," she said, voice shaking but steady. "Is it?" He interrupted, breathless. "Yes. Voyager 2. It's sending something. Something new." Across the globe, as Emma and Marcus began their urgent analysis, news networks caught wind of the discovery. Social media lit up instantly, posts, tweets, videos, all buzzing with disbelief and excitement. Voyager 2 sends mysterious signal after 48 years. Is this first contact? What's out there? The universe just sent us a message. Meanwhile, millions of people, in homes and offices and classrooms, stopped to watch. No one had expected Voyager 2's quiet voyage to end like this. Elon Musk, already preparing for his next Mars mission, took note. The billionaire entrepreneur and visionary wasn't just watching as a bystander, he was deeply invested in humanity's future among the stars. That evening, Musk appeared on a live global broadcast. His presence was commanding, his tone serious yet hopeful. "This signal could be the most important discovery of our generation," Musk said. "We're working closely with NASA and the best minds, including Dr. Emma Lawson here, to decode its message. What we find could reshape our understanding of the universe and our place in it." On a screen behind him, a graphic showed Voyager 2's trajectory, its silent path now ignited by this unexpected transmission. Emma watched from her lab, nerves prickling. This was bigger than any of them had imagined. She knew that every second counted. The world was holding its breath. Emma turned to the camera mounted on her desk, live streaming her reaction to millions. "Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from," she said, her voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside her. "This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough?" Her question was sincere. For Emma, the journey to this moment had been anything but easy. Born and raised in a small Ohio town, she'd been a curious child, mesmerized by the stars her father pointed out to her on summer nights. Her mother's stories about constellations and distant worlds had fueled a passion that never faded, even after her mother's untimely death when Emma was just 10. That loss left an ache she carried quietly, fueling her drive to reach beyond Earth and uncover the universe's secrets. She had fought hard through school, often feeling out of place, struggling to prove herself in a male-dominated field. But she never gave up. Now, decades later, here she was, staring down one of the greatest mysteries humanity had ever faced. Outside the lab's large windows, the Houston skyline glittered under a clear, starry sky. It felt surreal that this quiet city was now at the epicenter of something that could alter humanity's fate. News channels reported growing public unease. Conspiracy theories swirled. Was the signal a sign of alien life? A warning? Or something far more sinister? Governments scrambled to respond. Emergency meetings were called. Social media flooded with speculation and fear. But through it all, Emma kept her focus. Decoding the transmission was like unraveling a cosmic riddle, each pattern, each frequency shift, a piece of a puzzle that could unlock answers no one was prepared for. Her mind raced as she collaborated with teams across continents, piecing together the signal's strange components. Meanwhile, Elon Musk's voice echoed in her mind. This could change everything. And Emma believed him. As the night wore on, the tension in the lab grew. The hidden transmission was no accident. It was deliberate. Someone, or something, wanted to communicate. But why? And what did the message mean? Emma leaned forward, eyes narrowing, heart pounding as she realized the implications. This was more than a signal from an old spacecraft. It was a wake-up call. Humanity's quiet slumber under the stars was over. The world had stopped, caught between fear and hope, curiosity and dread. And somewhere, far beyond the reaches of Earth's skies, Voyager 2's hidden transmission waited, ready to change everything. Emma didn't have an answer yet. But she was ready to find out. Emma Lawson wasn't born to be a scientist. At least, that's what her father always told her when she was a girl growing up in a sleepy town nestled in Ohio's rolling farmlands. Science is fine, but don't lose sight of what's real, Em, he'd say, the lines of worry etched deep in his weathered face. Life's about people, not just numbers and stars. But Emma had other plans. She saw the stars not just as distant dots in the night sky but as beacons, endless mysteries calling her forward. Her earliest memory of wonder came on a warm summer night when she was 7. Her mother, Anne, held her close on the porch swing, pointing out the constellations while telling stories of ancient heroes and cosmic battles. "See that bright one?" Anne whispered, pointing at Sirius. "It's called the Dog Star. They say it's the guardian of lost travelers." Young Emma's eyes widened, heart thudding with the thrill of possibility. "Do you think there's life out there, Mom? Somewhere beyond the stars?" And smiled softly, brushing Emma's hair from her face. "Oh, sweetheart, the universe is so big, there has to be." Those words stayed with Emma through the years, becoming the foundation of her dreams. But life, as it often does, had other plans. When Emma was 10, her mother's health began to fail. It started as fatigue and coughs, but the doctor's diagnosis was a blow that shattered their small family, and had an aggressive form of cancer. Emma watched helplessly as her mother grew weaker, the light in her eyes dimming with each passing day. The home that once hummed with warmth and laughter grew cold and silent. One night, as Emma sat beside her mother's hospital bed, and squeezed her hand weakly. "Promise me you'll keep looking up, Em. Promise me you'll never stop chasing the stars." Tears streamed down Emma's cheeks as she nodded, clinging to that promise. Her mother died before Emma's 11th birthday. The loss was a wound that never fully healed. Emma retreated inward, burying herself in books about astronomy and space exploration. It was her escape, her sanctuary. Her father, Thomas, struggled too. A quiet man of few words, he couldn't bridge the growing distance between them. Grief became a wall, thick and impenetrable. For years, Emma felt like she was drifting alone through a dark void, until she found the one thing that anchored her: science. School became her refuge. She was the quiet girl who asked questions no one else dared to ask, the one who stayed late after class to peer through the telescope at the school's makeshift observatory. Teachers noticed. They pushed her forward. Scholarships came. By the time she graduated high school, Emma had been accepted into a top university's astrophysics program. College wasn't easy. Emma was often the only woman in her classes, a fact that never went unnoticed. Some professors doubted her, some classmates dismissed her. But she refused to let that stop her. Late nights in the lab, surrounded by humming machines and blinking monitors, she found a purpose deeper than any classroom lecture. It was during these years that she met Marcus Reed, a brilliant coder with a mischievous grin and a knack for solving impossible problems. Their friendship blossomed quickly. Marcus was her anchor in the chaos of academia. When Emma's confidence faltered, Marcus was there with a joke or a reassuring word. But friendship wasn't enough. Emma met Jake Turner during her graduate studies, a fellow scientist with charm and ambition. They shared late-night talks about Mars colonies and the future of humanity. For a while, it seemed like she might finally have found a partner who understood her passion. Yet, the deeper Emma dove into her work, the more the relationship strained. Jake wanted a life grounded on Earth, stable and predictable. Emma's dreams were anything but. They fought, quietly, painfully, over the years, the tension growing like static electricity. And yet, Emma never stopped pushing forward. Her career took off. She landed a coveted role at NASA, working directly on deep space communications. Her specialty? Tracking Voyager 2 and its twin, Voyager 1, the oldest human-made object still traveling through space. Her colleagues admired her brilliance, though few knew the personal battles she fought daily. Emma's life was a careful balance of hope and grief, determination and loneliness. When Voyager 2's unexpected transmission came through, it wasn't just a scientific discovery, it was a deeply personal moment. She remembered her mother's words vividly, "Never stop chasing the stars." That night in Houston, as she stared at the strange, alien pattern flashing across her screen, Emma felt a strange mix of fear and hope. Fear because the unknown is always frightening. Hope because this could be the breakthrough she dreamed of. As news of the transmission spread, Emma's world grew chaotic. Her phone buzzed constantly. Journalists, government officials, even Elon Musk's team reached out. Emma felt the pressure mounting. The whole world wanted answers, but she had only questions. Her sister Lily called late that night, her voice thick with worry. You're pushing yourself too hard. You need to rest." Emma smiled softly. Lily was her lifeline, a bright, vibrant soul who always reminded Emma of the simple joys of life. "I can't stop now," Emma said. "Not when this might change everything." Lily sighed. "Just don't lose yourself in the stars." Emma promised she wouldn't. As she sat alone in her lab, the weight of history pressed down on her. She wasn't just decoding a message from Voyager 2, she was deciphering a cosmic challenge, one that could reshape the future of humanity. And she was ready to face it. But the journey ahead would test her in ways she never imagined. The next morning, as sunlight filtered through the blinds, Emma prepared to face a new day. Her phone pinged with a message from Elon Musk. "Meeting at 10 a.m. sharp. This is bigger than any of us imagined." Emma squared her shoulders. The transmission from Voyager 2 was no longer just a mystery. It was the beginning of something extraordinary. For Emma Lawson, it was the promise made to a mother long gone, and the stars that still called her home. The air in the NASA control room was thick with tension. The usual hum of activity was punctuated by hushed conversations, nervous glances, and the occasional sharp beep from communication consoles. Emma Lawson sat at the center of it all, the glow of multiple monitors casting a pale light across her focused face. For the past 48 hours, the Voyager 2 transmission had consumed her every waking moment. She and her team had uncovered layers of complex signals embedded within the data. Patterns unlike any known cosmic or mechanical source. It was as if Voyager 2 wasn't just sending raw data but a message. But what message? And from whom? The rising excitement from the first discovery was now tangled with doubt and fear. A group of officials from various government agencies had arrived, their presence an unmistakable sign that this was no longer just a scientific mystery, it was a matter of national security. Emma's phone buzzed insistently. She ignored it at first, trying to focus on the intricate sequences scrolling on her screen. But the buzzing persisted. Finally, she glanced down. It was a message from Jake Turner, her former partner. "Emma, we need to talk. Now. This could be bigger than you think." Emma swallowed hard. Their relationship had ended badly, but Jake had never stopped working in the same circles. Could he still be a threat to her progress? Or was this a genuine warning? She hesitated but then called him back. "Jake. What's going on?" His voice was low and urgent. "I've been hearing things. Classified stuff. They're talking about shutting down the Voyager project entirely. They don't want this transmission getting out. Says it could destabilize public order." Emma's heart sank. "What? That's insane. This is our chance to learn." "Emma, listen," Jake interrupted. "They're afraid. If this is alien contact, or even a cryptic message from a rogue system, there's a risk people will panic. Governments don't want that chaos." Emma clenched her fists. "Of course they're afraid. Fear always comes first." "Has Musk been informed?" she asked. Jake hesitated. "Last I heard, yes. But he's pushing hard to keep this public. He sees the potential, economic, scientific, cultural. He wants transparency. But the powers that be, they're resistant." The conversation ended with more questions than answers, and Emma felt a familiar surge of helplessness creeping in. She was caught between two worlds, the idealistic dream of exploration and the cold, harsh realities of politics. She wasn't the only one feeling the strain. Marcus, her closest friend and collaborator, approached her quietly. "Emma, the team's worried," he said, glancing around the room. "We're seeing unusual interference in the transmission now, signals that look like intentional disruption. Someone's messing with the data stream." Emma's eyes narrowed. "Sabotage?" Marcus nodded grimly. "It's possible. Could be foreign actors or internal factions." The paranoia was palpable. Whispers of espionage, fear, and conspiracy spiraled through the control room like wildfire. Emma took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. She turned to Elon Musk's liaison, who had just entered with an urgent look. "Elon wants a briefing." 10 minutes, the liaison said. Emma nodded. She needed to prepare, for the man who held immense influence over space exploration and, potentially, the fate of the Voyager mission. The briefing room was stark and modern. Elon Musk stood by the window, staring out at the Texas skyline. He turned as Emma entered, his expression unreadable. "Emma," he said, voice steady but intense. "I've seen the initial data. This transmission, it's unlike anything we've encountered. You're sure it's not a technical glitch?" Emma met his gaze. "Positive. The patterns are too complex, too precise. It's a message." Musk's eyes gleamed with a mix of excitement and concern. "If this is truly a message from beyond, it changes everything. But it also raises the stakes. Who else knows about this?" Emma hesitated. "The government is involved, but there are factions who want to suppress it." Musk's jaw tightened. "That's not acceptable. Humanity deserves to know. We can't let fear silence this moment." Emma nodded, feeling the weight of his conviction. Suddenly, the room's monitors flickered, and the transmission feed cut out. A collective gasp filled the room. Marcus frantically typed, trying to reconnect. "Signal lost." "It's being jammed," he said. Musk's face hardened. "Find the source." The next hours were a whirlwind of frantic activity. Teams scrambled to track down the interference. The origin was uncertain, but clues pointed to a sophisticated cyber attack. Emma's frustration boiled over. This isn't just about science anymore. It's a battle for truth. Amid the chaos, a flicker of hope emerged. An encrypted fragment of the transmission reappeared, this time clearer, more decipherable. Emma's team worked feverishly to decode it. The message was a sequence of mathematical patterns interwoven with symbols reminiscent of ancient human languages, a blend of the known and the unknown. It was as if the signal was designed to be understood by those willing to listen. As dawn broke over Houston, Emma allowed herself a moment of hope. "We're making progress," she told Marcus. "But whoever's jamming us won't give up easily," he cautioned. Days passed with a cycle of breakthroughs and setbacks, a relentless climax, hope, climax, rhythm. One moment, the transmission revealed tantalizing hints of knowledge, information about distant star systems, warnings about cosmic dangers. The next, the signal was lost again, replaced by ominous silence. Through it all, Emma's resolve hardened. She was no longer just a scientist. She was a guardian of a message that could define the future. And she wasn't alone. The world was watching. Elon Musk's public statements kept the flame of curiosity alive, inspiring millions. But behind the scenes, shadowy forces worked to control the narrative. Emma felt the growing isolation, the pressure to choose between truth and safety. One night, alone in the lab, she received a call from Lily. You sound exhausted. Please don't let this consume you." Emma's voice cracked. "I don't have a choice. This signal, it's everything." Lily's words were a lifeline. "Just promise me you'll take care of yourself. We need you whole." Emma smiled through the tears. "I will. For you. For Mom." The memory of her mother's final words echoed stronger than ever. As the world held its breath, Emma Lawson stood at the epicenter of a cosmic mystery, caught in the crossfire of hope and fear, truth and deception. Voyager 2's hidden transmission was no longer just a message from the stars, it was a test of humanity's courage. And the journey had only just begun. For Emma, it was the love of family, the bond of friendship, and the unyielding hope that even in darkness, light could be found. The sun had barely risen over Houston when Emma Lawson stepped out of her apartment, the cool morning air crisp against her skin. The city was still waking up, but for Emma, the day had already begun hours ago, with her mind consumed by the mysterious signal pulsing from Voyager 2. Today was different. Today, the journey truly began. For weeks, the cryptic transmission had both fascinated and haunted her. Despite the sabotage attempts and political pressure, Emma and her team had managed to decode a startling portion of the message, a map. Not just any map, but a stellar chart pointing to an uncharted region of space beyond the heliosphere, the bubble of solar wind that cocooned the solar system. This wasn't just data. It was an invitation. As she drove toward the Space Exploration Institute, Emma's thoughts raced. Who sent the message? Why now, after more than 4 decades of silence? And what awaited humanity on this hidden path? The institute buzzed with activity, scientists and engineers moving with purpose, their faces a mixture of anticipation and exhaustion. Emma's eyes locked with Marcus's as she entered the control room. "We got the coordinates," she said, voice barely above a whisper. "We're going deeper than Voyager ever went." Marcus smiled, but his eyes were serious. "And we're not alone. The signal's changed. It's evolving." The next hours were a blur of preparation. Emma briefed the team, her voice calm despite the storm inside. "We're working with Elon Musk's SpaceX engineers to launch an autonomous probe," she explained. "It'll follow Voyager 2's trajectory and transmit data back in real time. This is the first step toward exploring the unknown beyond our solar system." The plan was audacious, sending a new mission into interstellar space, guided by the hidden map encoded in Voyager 2's transmission. It was a journey that would test technology, courage, and humanity's resolve. As the countdown began at the nearby launch facility, Emma stood beside Elon Musk, their eyes fixed on the towering rocket. "Elon," she said quietly, "this could be the moment that changes everything." Musk nodded, his gaze steely. "It has to be. Humanity's future depends on pushing boundaries." The engines roared to life, and the probe soared upward, piercing the morning sky like a silver arrow. Emma felt her chest tighten. This was no longer theory, it was action. Back in the control room, data streamed in from the probe's instruments. The spacecraft was transmitting images of a starfield unfamiliar to even the most seasoned astronomers. A celestial tapestry woven with unknown constellations and glowing nebulae. Emma's breath caught. "This region, it's unlike anything we've mapped," Marcus said, pointing to a swirling mass of cosmic dust and stars. "There's something there. Something huge." The probe's sensors detected faint energy signatures, pulses of radiation that seemed to resonate with the original Voyager 2 transmission. A new question gripped Emma's mind: was Voyager 2 guiding them toward a cosmic beacon? The days that followed felt like living inside a science fiction novel. Each new transmission from the probe revealed wonders and dangers, mysterious signals embedded in stellar winds, celestial storms that threatened to disrupt communications, and spectral lights dancing like ghosts across the cosmic horizon. Emma documented everything, her excitement mingling with exhaustion. The stakes were enormous, but the thrill of discovery was intoxicating. Late one night, alone in the lab, Emma stared at a live feed from the probe. The screen flickered and then stabilized, revealing an image that froze her blood. There, in the midst of the starfield, was a structure, immense, geometric, unmistakably artificial. It was a massive ring, glowing faintly, orbiting a distant star. Emma's fingers trembled as she whispered, "It's a space station." Or, something like it. The implications hit her like a thunderbolt. This wasn't just a map. It was a trail leading to an alien civilization. She reached for her phone, dialing Marcus. "We found it," she said breathlessly. "A structure. Something built." Marcus was silent for a moment. "This changes everything." The discovery ignited a firestorm of excitement, and fear, across the scientific community and the world. Elon Musk held an emergency press conference. "Today, we stand on the brink of a new chapter for humanity," he declared. "The probe's discovery of an artificial structure beyond our solar system confirms what many have hoped: we are not alone. This is a call to unite as a species, to explore, to understand." Emma watched the broadcast, heart pounding. The weight of responsibility pressed heavily on her. But alongside the awe, darker forces lurked. Unexplained blackouts in the probe's signal increased. Communications scrambled at critical moments. Emma suspected interference, this time, from an unknown source in space. "It's like someone, or something, doesn't want us to reach that station," Marcus said, eyes narrowed. The team debated what to do next. Should they send a manned mission? Was humanity ready to cross the threshold into an interstellar society? Emma felt the old fears creeping back, fear of the unknown, fear of failure. But she also remembered her mother's words: "Never stop chasing the stars." With renewed determination, Emma drafted plans for a manned expedition, one that would follow the probe and unlock the secrets of the alien structure. Elon Musk supported the initiative wholeheartedly, pledging SpaceX's resources. The world watched as the vision unfolded, a daring mission fueled by human courage and curiosity. But as Emma prepared for what lay ahead, she knew the journey was only beginning. The cosmos held secrets deeper than anyone had imagined, and the greatest challenges were yet to come. For Emma, the answer was clear: keep moving forward, no matter the cost. The silence in the Space Exploration Institute's control room was deafening. Emma Lawson sat frozen, her eyes locked on the data streaming across her screen. The probe's feed flickered and stabilized, revealing something she hadn't expected, something no one could have foreseen. The massive ring structure wasn't just a space station. It was a message, a monument built to communicate across time and space. But its purpose was far more profound. Encoded in the structure's light patterns was a warning. A warning about a cosmic event approaching Earth's solar system, an event so devastating it could wipe out all life on the planet. Emma's breath hitched. She reread the decoded transmission, heart pounding. The message described a wave of intense radiation and gravitational turbulence, a celestial storm moving through the galaxy, predicted to arrive within years. If humanity didn't prepare, the consequences would be catastrophic. The room was electric with disbelief. "Are we sure about this?" Marcus asked, voice low. Emma nodded slowly. "Every calculation points to the same conclusion. This isn't a hoax. It's a real threat." The news spread like wildfire. Governments around the world scrambled to verify the data. Panic flickered beneath the surface of public curiosity. Elon Musk stepped forward with a calm urgency. "We can't wait. We must act now. This is a test of humanity's resilience." But not everyone agreed. Emma found herself at the center of fierce debates. Some officials wanted to suppress the information, fearing mass hysteria. Others doubted the transmission's authenticity, labeling it a potential cyber attack or elaborate hoax. Emma's own colleagues questioned her judgment, the strain of months of sleepless nights wearing on her. Even Marcus, her closest ally, admitted, "This is beyond anything we imagined. It's overwhelming." But Emma refused to back down. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind, "Never stop chasing the stars." With Elon Musk's support, she rallied the scientific community to prepare for the coming storm. Plans for planetary defense systems, enhanced space weather monitoring, and interstellar communication networks accelerated. Emma worked around the clock, coordinating efforts and pushing for transparency. Yet, amidst the hope, shadows deepened. Late one evening, Emma received an encrypted message from an anonymous source. "The truth you seek is deeper. The storm is a symptom, not the cause." The message was brief, cryptic, but it sent chills down her spine. Who was reaching out? What did they mean? Emma shared the message with Marcus and Elon Musk. Musk's eyes narrowed. This could be a warning, or a threat. Determined to uncover the full truth, Emma and her team dove back into the data, searching for hidden layers in the transmission. Days passed in a blur of analysis and debate. Then, late one night, the breakthrough came. Beneath the warning lay an encoded invitation, an offer to join a cosmic coalition of advanced civilizations dedicated to safeguarding life across the galaxy. The ring structure was a gateway. A beacon signaling that humanity was ready to take its place among the stars. Emma's hands trembled as she presented the discovery. "This changes everything," she whispered. The revelation sparked both awe and fear. Could humanity trust this offer? Was it a trap? Or the beginning of a new era? Emma struggled with the enormity of it all. The weight of expectation, the fear of the unknown. In the quiet moments, she thought of her mother, the small Ohio town, and the promise to never stop looking up. She realized that this journey was not just about science. It was about hope, love, and the survival of everything she held dear. As the world braced for the cosmic storm, Emma Lawson stood ready, not just as a scientist, but as a guardian of humanity's future. The stars had finally spoken. And the message was clear, the universe was watching. For Emma, the answer was simple: listen, believe, and fight for tomorrow. The world had changed. When the cosmic storm finally reached Earth, it struck with a fury no one had fully anticipated. Satellites flickered and blinked, communication grids wavered, and the skies shimmered with eerie auroras in hues that defied earthly science. But humanity endured. Thanks to the tireless work led by Emma Lawson and her team, aided by Elon Musk's resources and vision, Earth's defenses held strong. Early warnings, reinforced shielding, and coordinated efforts had saved millions of lives. Yet, the victory was bittersweet. Emma stood on the balcony of the Space Exploration Institute, gazing up at the stars that had once felt so distant, and now felt intimately close. Her mind replayed the journey that had brought her here, the mysterious Voyager 2 transmission, the secret map, the hidden ring station, and the cryptic invitation to join a cosmic coalition. The messages from the stars had been both a warning and a promise. And the cost had been immense. Emma thought about the sacrifices made, countless hours away from family, strained friendships, and the heavy burden of carrying humanity's fate. She remembered the words her mother had spoken long ago, words that had become a guiding light through the darkest nights. Life is full of surprises, but love will always lead the way. Emma understood now that the stars had not just sent a warning about an impending storm, they had sent a message about connection, unity, and hope. The cosmic coalition was real, and humanity's place within it was no accident. It was a test, not just of technology or intelligence, but of compassion and courage. Back inside the institute, Emma gathered with her closest friends, Marcus, Lily, and a handful of others who had been by her side since the beginning. "We did it," Marcus said quietly, but his eyes held a depth of emotion that words could not capture. Lily smiled softly. "But this is just the start." Emma nodded. "We've been given a choice, a chance to become part of something greater. To learn from others who have faced the same challenges." The revelation stirred a profound shift in Emma's perspective. She realized that her own struggles, the broken relationships, the doubts, the fear, were small echoes of the greater journey humanity was now undertaking. She was no longer just a scientist chasing data. She was a bridge between worlds. Elon Musk appeared on the screen for a live global broadcast, his voice calm yet powerful. "This moment marks a new chapter for humanity," he declared. "We have faced the storm together and emerged stronger." The message from Voyager 2 was a call to unite, not just as nations, but as a species. Emma watched the broadcast, her heart swelling with pride and hope. She knew the road ahead would be difficult. There would be new challenges, misunderstandings, and setbacks. But she also knew that humanity was ready. The journey beyond the stars was no longer a dream. It was reality. In the quiet moments that followed, Emma reflected on what she had learned. The universe was vast and mysterious, filled with wonders beyond imagining. But at its core, it was connection that mattered, the ties that bind individuals, communities, and civilizations. Love, sacrifice, and hope were the true engines of exploration. As Emma prepared for the next phase of her journey, working to build interstellar diplomacy and cooperation, she carried with her the lessons of the past. She was reminded that even in the darkest times, there was light. Even when the world seemed to stop, life moved forward. And when everything felt uncertain, love would always lead the way. For Emma, it was this: courage isn't the absence of fear, it's choosing to move forward anyway. The dust was still settling after the cosmic storm, but Emma Lawson knew there was no time to rest. The universe was watching, and humanity's next steps would determine whether it could truly join the coalition or be left behind. The Space Exploration Institute had become a hub of activity, a crossroads where scientists, diplomats, and visionaries gathered to decipher the invitation from the stars. The alien coalition's message was clear: humanity must prove it was ready, not just technologically, but morally and socially. The challenge was immense. At a global summit in Geneva, Emma found herself face to face with leaders from around the world. The atmosphere was thick with tension. Some governments welcomed the coalition as a beacon of hope, others saw it as a threat to sovereignty. Emma felt the weight of the moment settle on her shoulders. "This is more than a scientific breakthrough," she said during her keynote speech. "It's a call for unity. We have to rise above old divisions." Her words were met with cautious applause. But as discussions progressed behind closed doors, Emma sensed the undercurrents of suspicion and fear. Some nations were reluctant to share resources. Others worried about the implications of alien technology, whether it could be weaponized or used to control populations. Emma's trusted colleague Marcus pulled her aside during a break. There are factions pushing back, he warned. They want to delay cooperation, keep secrets, or even sabotage the project. Emma's heart sank. The very divisions humanity had battled for centuries were resurfacing at the worst possible moment. She remembered the long nights alone in her lab, the sleepless hours spent unraveling Voyager 2's message, and the sacrifices made to bring the world together. Could humanity overcome its own fears? Meanwhile, Elon Musk was working behind the scenes to fast-track development of a new generation of spacecraft capable of interstellar travel, powered by technology inspired by the alien beacon. In a rare private meeting, Musk confided in Emma. "We have a chance to leap forward," he said. "But it's going to require risk, financial, political, and personal." Emma nodded. "We'll have to convince the world this is worth it." The tension peaked when an unexpected blackout interrupted communications with the probe following the ring structure. Panic spread through the control room. Had they lost the probe? Or was the blackout another sign of interference, perhaps from unknown forces unwilling to see humanity advance? Emma worked feverishly with her team to restore contact. Hours later, the signal returned, but with a chilling new transmission embedded. It was a message, not in any human language, but unmistakably directed at Earth. A warning. "Do not proceed," the transmission seemed to say. Emma's pulse quickened. Was this the coalition testing humanity's resolve, or a hostile force? She shared the discovery with Musk and Marcus. The question hung heavy in the air. Should humanity heed the warning and slow its progress? Or push forward and risk provoking an unknown enemy? Emma's answer was clear. "We have to move forward," she said firmly. "We can't let fear dictate our future." The decision sparked heated debates, protests in cities worldwide, and a surge in conspiracy theories. But it also galvanized a new generation of explorers, scientists, and dreamers. Emma found herself mentoring young hopefuls who saw in her a symbol of courage and possibility. One evening, as she walked the halls of the institute, a young engineer named Sarah approached. "Dr. Lawson," she said nervously, "I just want to say, your work inspired me. I want to be part of this mission." Emma smiled, feeling a spark of hope. "The future belongs to those who dare," she said. As preparations for a manned mission to the ring structure accelerated, Emma reflected on the journey so far. From the quiet town where she grew up to the vastness of interstellar space, she had come a long way. But she knew the hardest challenges were still ahead. The Cosmic Coalition was not just a test of technology, but of humanity's spirit. Could they set aside old fears and divisions? Could they embrace the unknown with open hearts? Emma didn't have all the answers. But she was ready to find them. For Emma, the answer was simple: keep going, because the greatest risks hold the greatest rewards. The control room was a hive of focused energy, humming with the quiet buzz of computers and low murmurs of scientists and engineers. Emma Lawson stood at the center, her gaze sharp, scanning the data screens, watching every detail of the preparations for humanity's first manned mission beyond the solar system. For years, this moment had been a dream, a distant hope fueled by Voyager 2's hidden transmission. Now, with the alien ring structure sending signals that defied explanation, it was a reality. A dozen astronauts, engineers, and scientists had been handpicked to board the spaceship Endeavour, the most advanced craft ever built by SpaceX in collaboration with international space agencies. The weight of history pressed down on Emma's shoulders. Every decision mattered. Every delay could cost lives or the chance to join the Cosmic Coalition. "Elon," Emma said quietly as she approached him near the command console, "we're nearly ready. The launch window opens in 72 hours. Musk's usual confident grin was tinged with a rare seriousness. "This mission isn't just about exploration," he said. "It's about survival, discovery, and diplomacy. The world is counting on us." Emma nodded. "And the risks are greater than ever." The past few weeks had tested the team beyond anything they imagined. Unexplained glitches in the spacecraft's systems, sudden shifts in the alien signals, and mounting political pressures had frayed nerves and raised difficult questions. Marcus paced nearby, rubbing his temples. "We still don't fully understand the technology embedded in the ring's transmissions," he said. "It's alien, yes, but somehow, adaptive. Like it's learning from us." Emma's jaw tightened. "We can't afford unknowns, but we can't wait forever." The astronauts assigned to the mission arrived one by one to the Institute's quarantine facilities, preparing to isolate themselves before launch. Among them was Commander Mia Torres, a veteran astronaut whose calm demeanor had earned respect from even the most skeptical critics. Emma watched as Mia reviewed mission protocols with laser focus. Later, in a private meeting, Mia shared her thoughts. "This mission isn't just a flight," she said quietly. "It's a leap into the greatest unknown. Everyone's counting on us to succeed, and we have to be ready for anything." Emma felt a surge of admiration. "You're ready," she said simply. Mia smiled, but there was a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. "I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared." But fear sharpens focus. Meanwhile, the world outside was divided. Some celebrated the impending mission as humanity's greatest achievement. Others protested, fearing the dangers of contacting unknown civilizations. Social media was awash with debates, theories, and conspiracy rumors. Emma found herself caught in the storm of public opinion. During a live televised interview, she was asked, "Dr. Lawson, what if this mission triggers a hostile response from the alien coalition or worse?" She took a deep breath. "We cannot live in fear of the unknown," she replied. "The choice is between stagnation and growth. Between isolation and connection. We choose to reach out, because that's what defines humanity." The word struck a chord. Back in the Institute, the team worked tirelessly to finalize the Endeavour's systems. Engineers fine-tuned propulsion, life support, and communication modules, while scientists simulated countless scenarios of contact with alien technology. One evening, Emma received a call from Marcus. "We found something," he said, voice urgent. "A hidden sequence in the ring's signal, coordinates within the structure itself." Emma leaned forward. "What kind of coordinates?" "A chamber. Something deep inside. It might hold the key to understanding their message." The discovery reignited excitement, and caution. Emma knew this could be the breakthrough needed to unlock the coalition's secrets, or a trap designed to lure humanity into danger. As the launch date approached, tensions rose. Sleepless nights became routine. Emma's own relationship strained under the pressure, her sister's calls went unanswered, friends drifted away, and loneliness settled in. One night, alone in her office, Emma stared at a photo of her mother. "Never stop chasing the stars," she whispered. Her resolve hardened. On the morning of the launch, the Institute was filled with reporters, dignitaries, and anxious families. Emma gave a final briefing to the crew. "This journey is about more than science," she said, voice steady but filled with emotion. "It's about hope, unity, and the courage to face the unknown together." The astronauts nodded, ready to become humanity's ambassadors. As the countdown began, Emma felt a mix of pride, fear, and determination. The engines ignited, and the Endeavour rose into the sky, piercing the atmosphere and hurtling toward the alien ring structure. Emma watched the live feed, heart pounding as the spacecraft disappeared into the blackness. The journey had truly begun. For Emma and her crew, the answer was simple, with courage, unity, and the hope that the stars were guiding their way. The Endeavour glided through the black velvet of space, stars twinkling like distant beacons in the infinite night. Inside the cabin, the crew sat in tense silence, each lost in their own thoughts as the spacecraft approached the alien ring structure, a vast, glowing colossus that loomed ahead like a silent sentinel guarding the mysteries of the cosmos. Commander Mia Torres gripped the armrests, her eyes locked on the viewport. "We're entering the outer field in T-10 minutes, she announced, her voice steady but laced with an edge of anticipation. Emma Lawson sat beside mission specialist Aaron Chen, monitoring the ship's sensors. "The ring's energy signature is unlike anything we've encountered," she said, her brow furrowed as data streamed in. "It's pulsing in patterns that seem intentional." Aaron nodded. "Almost like it's alive." As the Endeavour crossed into the ring's orbit, a surge of electromagnetic interference rippled through their instruments. Lights flickered briefly, and for a heartbeat, communication channels went silent. Mia's voice cut through the tension. "Hold steady. We expected some interference." The crew held their breath. Then, the ship's system stabilized. Aaron's fingers flew over the controls, interpreting the incoming signals. "The ring is responding, and it's scanning us." Emma's heart quickened. This was the moment they had trained for, the first direct contact with an alien technology, millions of miles from Earth. Suddenly, the ship's lights dimmed and the hull vibrated with a low hum. "Everyone, brace yourselves," Mia commanded. Outside, the ring's surface began to shimmer and shift. Panels slid aside, revealing an enormous gateway, an archway glowing with an ethereal blue light that beckoned them forward. "Do we enter?" Marcus asked for mission control, his voice crackling through the comm link. Emma looked to Mia, who gave a curt nod. "This is what we came for." The Endeavour moved slowly through the gateway, sensors capturing every detail of the interior. Inside was a vast chamber, filled with structures that defied human geometry, spiraling towers, floating platforms, and walls that seemed to ripple like liquid metal. Aaron scanned the environment. "There's no atmosphere here. The ship's external shields will protect us, but we need to be careful." Emma felt a surge of awe. The chamber was a testament to intelligence far beyond Earth's. Yet it was strangely familiar, an echo of humanity's own dreams and hopes. As the ship advanced, the ring's interior began to display images on the walls, star maps, histories of civilizations, and messages of peace and warning. Emma realized these were records, a cosmic archive. Suddenly, a figure appeared on the ship's holographic interface, an alien presence, luminous and serene. The crew gasped. "It's a message," Mia whispered. The figure's voice resonated in their minds, bypassing language barriers. "Welcome, travelers. You stand at the threshold of unity and survival. The cosmic storm was but a test. Your courage and resolve have been noted." Emma's eyes filled with tears. The message continued, "The coalition offers knowledge and alliance. But the path requires sacrifice, trust, and the courage to transcend fear." Mia turned to her crew. "We represent humanity. What will our answer be?" Emma took a deep breath. "We accept." The chamber responded with a burst of light, and new data flooded the Endeavour's systems, blueprints for advanced energy, medicine, and space travel technologies. But the gifts came with a warning: the storm was only the beginning. A greater darkness loomed beyond the stars. The crew realized that their journey was far from over. The alien coalition was real, and their invitation was a call to arms. As the Endeavour prepared to return, Emma reflected on the fragility and strength of humanity. "We're not alone," she said softly. "And together, we might just survive." For Emma, the answer was hope, hope for unity, understanding, and a future among the stars. The journey back to Earth was filled with an uneasy silence, broken only by the quiet hum of the Endeavour's engines and the soft beep of sensors monitoring the alien technology now integrated into their systems. Each crew member wrestled with the enormity of what they had seen and the responsibility that awaited them on home soil. Commander Mia Torres sat at the helm, eyes fixed on the stars that streaked past the ship's viewport. "We've crossed a threshold," she said quietly. "There's no going back to how things were." Emma Lawson leaned back in her chair, her mind racing through the data they'd gathered, blueprints, star maps, and cryptic warnings about the greater darkness lurking beyond the cosmic storm. The alien coalition's invitation was not just an offer of friendship but a call to prepare for a threat Earth could barely comprehend. Marcus, back at Mission Control, maintained a constant link to the crew. His voice crackled through the calm, steady but concerned. The world's on edge. The data leak about the alien encounter has already sparked unrest. Emma sighed. She had anticipated this. The delicate balance of hope and fear was tipping. As Endeavour drew closer to Earth, the crew began preparing for re-entry. But the true challenge awaited. Convincing humanity to unite in the face of an unknown enemy. On Earth, political tensions flared. Governments debated the implications of the coalition's message, with factions arguing between cooperation and isolation. Social media erupted with conspiracy theories and protests. The mission's success had inadvertently unleashed a new wave of uncertainty. Elon Musk addressed the public in a globally broadcasted speech, his usual bravado softened by gravity. "We stand at a crossroads," he said. The discoveries made on Endeavour opened doors to a future of unprecedented knowledge, and unprecedented risk. Emma and Mia met with world leaders in a tense summit convened to decide Earth's response to the coalition's warnings. The stakes were high. Some leaders pushed for accelerated defense programs, fearing the greater darkness. Others urged diplomacy and deeper engagement with the coalition. Emma found herself advocating for balance, hope grounded in caution. "Fear will divide us," she warned. "Only unity will save us." Back on the Endeavour, the crew grappled with their own fears and doubts. Aaron Chen confided in Emma one evening. "I thought this mission would answer questions," he said. "Instead, it feels like it raises more." Emma nodded. "The universe is vast. Our place in it is just beginning." Amid the tension, bonds deepened. Commander Torres opened up about her own struggles, the loneliness of command, the weight of decisions that could mean life or death. Emma shared her fears about the future and the sacrifices demanded. Together, they found strength in shared purpose. As the Endeavour entered Earth's atmosphere, fireworks of light danced across the sky, a welcome and a warning. The world watched, united in awe and uncertainty. The spacecraft touched down amid cheers and tears. Emma stepped forward, ready to face whatever came next. Because the journey was far from over. The stars had spoken. Humanity had a choice. To stand together, or to fall divided. For Emma, it was the courage to keep moving forward, one step, one discovery, one hope at a time. The aftermath of Endeavour's return was a storm unlike any the world had faced before. News outlets broadcast the unprecedented encounter with an alien coalition, the technology gifts, and the ominous warnings of a greater darkness. The public's reaction was a chaotic blend of awe, hope, fear, and outrage. In the corridors of power, governments scrambled to respond. The summit Emma Lawson had attended was only the first of many, a fragile attempt to craft a united Earth response to the alien coalition's call. But unity proved elusive. Some nations demanded rapid militarization and the development of advanced defenses inspired by the alien technology. Others argued for diplomacy and transparency, pushing for a global coalition to govern the new interstellar relationship. Emma found herself caught in the middle. In one heated session at the United Nations, she stood before a sea of representatives, her voice firm but measured. "We cannot afford to fracture now," she urged. "The coalition's invitation is a lifeline. It is a chance for peace, progress, and survival, if we choose to grasp it together." Yet, skepticism ran deep. The memory of centuries of conflict and mistrust weighed heavily. Old rivalries flared, fueled by fear that some countries might gain disproportionate power from the alien technology. Meanwhile, factions within intelligence agencies warned of potential infiltration, not just from alien forces, but human actors using the crisis to consolidate power. The media seized on the chaos, with sensational headlines questioning the motives of the coalition and the honesty of world leaders. Emma's team faced a barrage of conspiracy theories, some claiming the entire mission was a hoax, others warning of alien domination. Amid the turmoil, Elon Musk stepped forward with a bold plan. An international scientific alliance dedicated to responsibly developing the coalition's technology and preparing Earth for the challenges ahead. Technology alone won't save us, Musk said in a televised address. It's the human spirit, our ability to collaborate and innovate, that will. His vision resonated with many, but also drew fierce opposition from nationalist groups who saw it as a threat to sovereignty. Emma worked tirelessly to mediate between factions, organizing working groups and forums to foster dialogue. She also leaned on her growing network of allies, scientists, diplomats, and activists united by a shared goal. One late night, Marcus sent a message. We have a lead on the greater darkness threat. There's a pattern emerging in the coalition's warnings, a cluster of star systems heading toward Earth's region. We need to prepare. The revelation intensified the urgency. Emma and her colleagues developed a multi-phase plan, enhancing Earth's defenses, accelerating technological research, and expanding communication channels with the coalition. But progress was slow, hampered by political gridlock and public anxiety. Emma's personal life frayed under the strain. Calls with her sister became infrequent, and her support system dwindled. One evening, during a quiet moment in her office, she found herself staring at a picture of her mother again, whispering, "Keep going. For all of us." The path forward was uncertain, but Emma's resolve remained unshaken. Earth was at a crossroads. Would it unite to face the cosmic challenges ahead, or succumb to fear and division? Only time would tell. For Emma, it was the belief that humanity's survival depended on hope, dialogue, and courage. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. What's one thing that helps you bring people together? The world was still reeling from the revelation of the alien coalition when, amid the chaos and uncertainty, a remarkable development took shape: the formation of the Global Alliance for Interstellar Cooperation, GAIC. This new coalition of nations, scientists, and visionaries embodied the hope Emma Lawson and Elon Musk had long championed, a united front to confront the challenges and opportunities the cosmos now presented. The inaugural GAIC summit was held in Geneva, a city known for diplomacy and fragile agreements. But this time, the stakes were higher than ever. Delegates from over 70 countries gathered, their faces reflecting a mix of skepticism, curiosity, and cautious optimism. Emma stood at the podium, her heart pounding but her voice steady. "We are not just representatives of our nations today," she declared. "We are ambassadors of humanity's future. The technology we have received is a gift, and a responsibility. Together, we will unlock its potential for the good of all." Elon Musk followed her speech, sharing bold plans to build new infrastructure based on alien blueprints, advanced energy grids, propulsion systems, and medical breakthroughs that could transform life on Earth. Skeptics raised concerns. Could humanity handle such power responsibly? Were the aliens truly benevolent, or was this an elaborate test? Would the alliance survive political pressures and cultural divides? But Emma believed in the power of collaboration. "Trust must be earned," she said during a panel discussion. "And it begins with transparency and shared goals." The alliance quickly set up working groups to begin integrating the alien technology into various sectors. The first breakthrough came in energy, a new form of clean, almost limitless power generated by harnessing exotic particles discovered in the ring's data. Cities once burdened by pollution saw their skylines brighten with newfound vitality. Electric vehicles, now supercharged with this alien energy, could travel thousands of miles without refueling. Hospitals began trials of advanced medical devices that accelerated healing and repaired damaged tissue at a cellular level. Amid these rapid advancements, the world's focus shifted, for a moment, from fear to possibility. Yet, beneath the surface, challenges simmered. Governments debated how to share the technology equitably. Wealthier nations pushed for greater control, while developing countries demanded fair access. Cybersecurity threats surged, with hackers attempting to exploit the alien systems. Emma and her team worked around the clock to mediate these tensions. Trust-building exercises, international forums, and cultural exchanges became essential tools for maintaining unity. One night, Emma received a secure message from the coalition itself. A holographic envoy speaking through the Institute's advanced systems. "Your progress pleases us," the figure intoned. "But remember, the greater darkness approaches. Your unity is your shield." The message was both encouragement and warning. At the same time, scientists uncovered subtle anomalies within the alien technology, hidden failsafes and encrypted code suggesting layers of complexity still beyond human understanding. Marcus voiced the growing concern. "We're just scratching the surface. The technology is adaptive, almost alive. If we rush, we risk triggering consequences we can't control." Emma agreed. Caution tempered enthusiasm. Meanwhile, the Global Alliance inspired a new generation of young scientists, engineers, and dreamers. Schools revamped curricula to include interstellar studies, and public fascination with space surged. Emma visited a youth center in Chicago, where children built models of the alien ring and designed future spacecraft. One bright-eyed teenager asked, "Dr. Lawson, do you think we'll really meet the coalition one day?" Emma smiled. "Not if, when. The future belongs to those who dare to believe." As the Alliance's work accelerated, so did the preparations for humanity's next step, a deeper mission to the heart of the alien coalition's territory, a mission Emma hoped would cement Earth's place among the stars. But for now, the world took a collective breath. The alien message was clear. The universe was watching. And humanity was ready to answer. For Emma, it was listening, sharing, and believing that even the impossible can be achieved with unity. The Global Alliance for Interstellar Cooperation, GAIC, had been operational for just 6 months, yet the world felt like it was hurtling toward a new era at breakneck speed. The breakthrough technologies derived from the alien ring's archives had transformed industries, but now the next challenge loomed: formal diplomatic contact with the alien coalition. Emma Lawson sat in a high-tech conference room deep within the International Space Station, now retrofitted as the GAIC's diplomatic hub. The room hummed with nervous energy, representatives from every continent, clad in sharply tailored suits or traditional garb, waiting for the signal that would open the gateway to the unknown. Commander Mia Torres stood by Emma's side, both women aware that this moment could define humanity's place in the cosmos for generations to come. At precisely 1800 hours Coordinated Universal Time, the room's holographic interface flickered to life, revealing a swirling blue portal, the gateway through which the alien envoys would appear. A collective intake of breath filled the chamber. Then, from the shimmering light, stepped the first representatives of the alien coalition. They were radiant, ethereal beings, their forms shifting like liquid light, yet unmistakably sentient and deeply intelligent. The lead envoy addressed the assembly in a voice that resonated in the minds of every listener. "Welcome, Earth delegates. We come in peace and partnership. Your progress honors the coalition's hopes for a united cosmos." Emma felt a thrill run through her. Years of preparation had led to this. The meeting quickly transitioned to discussions on technology sharing, joint defense strategies against the looming threat, the so-called Greater Darkness, and cultural exchange. But beneath the veneer of cooperation, political undercurrents pulsed strongly. Several Earth delegates expressed distrust, demanding assurances that the coalition's intentions were not veiled in manipulation. Tensions flared when a prominent military leader warned that sharing advanced technologies could upset the global balance of power. Emma countered calmly. "Isolation will not protect us. Only cooperation, with each other and with our new allies, will." Meanwhile, Elon Musk monitored the session remotely, his fingers steepled as he weighed the potential for a technological revolution balanced against geopolitical risks. Behind closed doors, secret talks unfolded. Some factions on Earth sought to covertly acquire alien tech for dominance, while others pushed for transparency and disarmament. Emma and Mia worked tirelessly to mediate, often meeting late into the night. One evening, Mia confided, "The coalition's presence challenges everything we know about power and trust. It's as much a test of humanity's unity as it is a cosmic alliance." Emma nodded. "We must rise to that test." As the summit progressed, the coalition shared insights into their history, civilizations that had faced extinction but survived through unity and sacrifice. They revealed that the Greater Darkness was a cosmic phenomenon, a wave of destructive energy sweeping through galaxies, devouring stars and civilizations alike. The alien envoys' words were a stark reminder that Earth's struggles were part of a larger cosmic drama. But with their partnership, there was hope. The GAIC announced plans for joint scientific missions, combined defense efforts, and cultural exchanges designed to foster mutual understanding. Yet, even as the summit concluded, Emma knew the path ahead would be fraught with challenges. Political intrigue, espionage, and the ever-present threat beyond the stars. Returning to her quarters, Emma reflected on the fragile hope that had blossomed. The universe had extended a hand. The question was whether humanity was ready to grasp it. For Emma, the message was simple: unity in the face of the unknown. The diplomatic triumph of first contact with the alien coalition was a beacon of hope for humanity, but in the shadows, darker forces began to stir. As the Global Alliance for Interstellar Cooperation, GAIC, moved forward with plans for joint missions and technology sharing, fractures deepened beneath the surface of Earth's political landscape. Emma Lawson could feel the tension tightening like a noose. In her secure office within the GAIC headquarters, she reviewed classified reports detailing suspicious activities within several member nations. Cyber attacks targeted research labs integrating alien technology, intelligence leaks exposed sensitive discussions. And rumors of clandestine arms deals hinted at factions preparing for conflict rather than cooperation. One afternoon, Marcus sent her an encrypted message marked urgent. "Emma, we've uncovered evidence of a covert operation aiming to steal alien tech data from the Geneva Research Center. The perpetrators may be state-sponsored. We need to act fast." Emma's heart pounded. The delicate trust they had worked so hard to build was at risk. She convened an emergency meeting with Mia Torres and the GAIC Security Council. "This is more than espionage," Emma said. "It's a betrayal of the alliance and a threat to global stability." Mia nodded grimly. "If this escalates, it could ignite a conflict worse than anything we've seen." The council authorized a covert task force, an international team of operatives and cyber specialists tasked with identifying the culprits and safeguarding the technology. Meanwhile, political leaders debated how to respond. Some called for transparency and prosecution, others urged secrecy to avoid panic and further division. Emma found herself walking a tightrope between revealing the truth and maintaining fragile alliances. As investigations progressed, it became clear that the sabotage was orchestrated by a coalition of nationalist groups and rogue agents fearful that alien technology would upend their power. One such figure was Senator Gregory Harlan, a charismatic yet divisive leader from a major country, who publicly decried the alien threat and rallied support for Earth-first policies. Emma confronted Harlan during a tense hearing. "Your fear-mongering only divides us," she said. "We must stand united, not fall prey to paranoia." Harlan sneered. "Unity under alien influence? That's surrender. We must protect our sovereignty." Behind the scenes, Harlan's network orchestrated further sabotage, infiltrating GAIC systems and leaking disinformation to the media. The world's faith in the alliance wavered. At night, Emma struggled with self-doubt. Was humanity ready for this cosmic leap? Could fear and suspicion be overcome? She reached out to Elon Musk, who had become an outspoken advocate for global unity and technological progress. During their video call, Elon said, "Emma, history shows us that great leaps often come with great resistance. But the ones who persist shape the future. Don't lose hope." Bolstered, Emma renewed her efforts to strengthen international bonds, organizing trust-building missions and public outreach to combat fear. Meanwhile, the coalition's envoy issued a warning. The greater darkness approaches. Your internal divisions weaken your defenses. You must find strength in unity. The message weighed heavily on Emma's shoulders. She called a summit focused on transparency and accountability, inviting leaders, scientists, and activists to confront the challenges openly. The summit was tense, but cracks began to heal as voices from all sides shared concerns and hopes. Slowly, trust rebuilt, fragile but growing. Emma realized that this internal struggle was as critical as any external threat. To face the darkness beyond the stars, humanity first had to conquer the darkness within. For Emma, it started with honesty, dialogue, and the courage to face uncomfortable truths. The morning of the launch felt like the dawn of a new era. After months of preparation, negotiations, and countless hurdles, the first joint scientific expedition into the alien coalition's territory was ready to depart. This was not just a mission, it was a symbol of humanity's fragile but growing unity with the cosmos. Emma Lawson stood on the observation deck at the newly completed Interstellar Gateway, a sprawling spaceport orbiting Earth, watching as the sleek, gleaming starship Pioneer prepared for departure. The vessel was a marvel of engineering, blending human technology with the alien innovations gifted through the Voyager 2 transmission. Elon Musk, who had been instrumental in the ship's design, joined Emma moments before the launch. His eyes reflected the weight of the moment. "This is history," he said quietly. "Not just for Earth, but for all of us in this galaxy." Emma nodded. "We carry the hopes of billions. And the warnings from the coalition." The Pioneer's crew was a diverse group, top scientists, engineers, diplomats, and security officers from multiple countries, all handpicked for their expertise and commitment to the mission's ideals. Captain Sarah Nguyen, a decorated astronaut and the mission's leader, stood ready at the command deck, her expression a mix of focus and anticipation. As the countdown began, Earth held its breath. 10, 9, 8, the voice from Mission Control echoed through the station. Emma thought back to the early days, the shock of Voyager 2's hidden transmission, the political upheavals, the conspiracies, and the fragile alliance that had somehow survived it all. 3, 2, 1, liftoff. The Pioneer surged forward, propelled by a fusion of human ingenuity and alien propulsion technology, slipping through Earth's atmosphere and into the star-studded void beyond. The world watched live, millions streaming the launch from every continent. Social media buzzed with excitement, hope, and prayers for success. Within the ship, the crew settled into their roles. The mission was clear: to explore the coalition's frontier, establish deeper communication channels, and gather data on the greater darkness threatening the cosmos. As Earth faded into a blue marble behind them, Captain Nguyen addressed the crew. "We are ambassadors of Earth. Our task is to learn, to understand, and to prepare. The path will be difficult. But together, we will face the unknown." Days passed as Pioneer navigated the alien space lanes, its sensors attuned to the unfamiliar phenomena described by the coalition. Emma monitored the mission from GAIC headquarters, her heart racing with every transmission. Then, suddenly, the ship's sensors detected something, an anomaly unlike anything humanity had encountered. The data streams filled with readings of fluctuating energy fields, spatial distortions, and faint signals that hinted at intelligent origin. Captain Nguyen convened the scientific team. "We may be entering the outskirts of the greater darkness," she said. "Or perhaps a signpost left by the coalition." Dr. Ravi Patel, the mission's lead astrophysicist, analyzed the data. "This energy signature is unlike any natural phenomenon. It could be a beacon or a warning." The crew worked tirelessly to decode the signals, using both human algorithms and alien technology interfaces. As they decrypted fragments of a message, tension mingled with awe. The message seemed to be a plea, a call for unity and resilience from civilizations long lost to the darkness. Emma felt a chill. This was not just exploration. It was a warning and a testament. Suddenly, the ship's communications array picked up a transmission from the Coalition, a holographic image of the envoy who had first greeted Earth. "Pioneer crew," the envoy said solemnly, "your journey is vital. Beyond this point, the dangers increase. But so does the hope for survival. Trust in each other, and in the bonds we have forged." The message underscored the gravity of their mission. Back on Earth, Emma addressed the world. "This mission is a beacon of what humanity can achieve: unity, courage, and curiosity. We must remember that the greatest journeys begin with the first step into the unknown." As Pioneer ventured deeper, the crew faced unexpected challenges, navigational hazards, strange cosmic phenomena, and moments of isolation that tested their resolve. But they also experienced moments of wonder. Glimpses of alien worlds, cosmic beauty, and the shared spirit of exploration that transcended species and stars. Emma knew this was only the beginning. The expedition would shape humanity's destiny, not just as inhabitants of Earth, but as participants in a cosmic community. For Emma, it was the truth about our place in the universe, and the hope that comes with it. The vastness of space stretched endlessly before the Pioneer, a slender thread of human and alien ingenuity weaving through the stars. Captain Sarah Nguyen sat quietly on the command deck, eyes fixed on the holographic display glowing softly in front of her. The once gleaming hopes of their mission had now begun to feel the cold bite of uncertainty. "Crew," Nguyen called out, her voice steady but tinged with tension, "we're entering a sector where sensor readings have become unstable. Prepare for possible anomalies." The ship's systems flickered intermittently as they crossed into the outer limits of what the alien coalition had described as the Greater Darkness, a mysterious cosmic phenomenon, an encroaching wave of destruction that devoured everything in its path. Dr. Ravi Patel, the mission's lead astrophysicist, hovered near a console, analyzing streams of data. "The energy here is unlike anything we've seen. It's not just dark matter or radiation, it's almost alive. Pulsating. Reactive." The entire crew felt the weight of their discovery. This was no ordinary void but an active, shifting force, a predator moving through space. Emma Lawson, thousands of miles away at the GAIC headquarters, monitored the live feed with a mixture of awe and dread. The Pioneer's journey had taken humanity beyond the realm of theory and speculation into a dangerous reality. Suddenly, the ship's alarms blared, an intense wave of gravitational distortion swept across the vessel, shaking it violently. "Brace for impact," Captain Nguyen ordered as the ship lurched. In the chaos, emergency lights cast eerie shadows on the anxious faces of the crew. Systems struggled to compensate for the gravitational flux, and the Pioneer's propulsion thrummed at maximum output to maintain stability. After tense minutes, the disturbance passed, leaving an uneasy silence. "We're lucky to be intact," Nguyen said, her voice steady but breath shallow. The incident marked the true arrival into the heart of the Greater Darkness, a place where physics bent, and space itself seemed hostile. Over the next several days, the Pioneer encountered more of these phenomena: fluctuating energy fields, unpredictable gravitational waves, and bursts of radiation that interfered with communications. Despite these dangers, the crew pressed onward, driven by purpose and the knowledge that Earth and the Coalition depended on their success. One evening, as the crew gathered for a briefing, Dr. Patel shared a startling discovery. "The Greater Darkness appears to be a cosmic storm, but it's also intelligent. Our sensors are picking up structured signals embedded within the energy waves. It's as if the darkness is communicating or responding." The revelation sent ripples through the crew. Was this destruction a natural force or a conscious entity? Captain Nguyen responded thoughtfully, "If it's sentient, understanding it could be key to survival." Meanwhile, tensions within the crew surfaced. The isolation and dangers weighed heavily, causing disagreements on strategy and risk tolerance. Lieutenant Amir Hassan, the ship's security officer, voiced concerns. "We need to be ready for hostile encounters. We can't assume this intelligence means peace." The diplomatic officers advocated for caution and openness. Emma, watching remotely, knew these divisions mirrored humanity's own struggle with fear and trust. As the Pioneer moved deeper, the ship's communications array picked up a faint distress signal, a call for help encoded in alien technology unknown to Earth. Captain Nguyen ordered the crew to investigate, and they soon discovered a derelict vessel, ancient and damaged, drifting in the void. Inside, holographic logs revealed a haunting story, a civilization destroyed by the greater darkness, their last moments a plea for future travelers to beware and unite. The message underscored the urgency of the mission. This was not just exploration but a race against extinction. Emma addressed the world, her voice resolute. The greater darkness is real, and it threatens us all. But through unity and courage, we can face the abyss and protect our future. Back on the Pioneer, the crew steeled themselves for the trials ahead. Every star they passed was a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the deepest darkness, light endured. The journey into the unknown continued, fraught with peril, but filled with the promise that humanity's place in the cosmos was just beginning. For Emma, the answer was to listen, learn, and unite. The Pioneer drifted silently through the shadowed corridors of space, the derelict vessel's haunting holograms still vivid in the minds of the crew. The tale of the lost civilization, consumed by the greater darkness, was a grim reminder of the stakes at hand. Yet, as Captain Sarah Nguyen reviewed the ship's scans, a new beacon flickered in the distance, a signal unlike any the crew had encountered before. It's faint, Dr. Ravi Patel noted, eyes fixed on the monitor. But it carries a complexity that suggests intelligent origin. Not from the coalition, nor from the darkness. Something else. Emma Lawson, tuned into the Pioneer's feed from GAIC headquarters, leaned forward. Could it be a new civilization? An unknown player in this cosmic drama? Captain Nguyen ordered a cautious course change. We need to investigate. This could be our first real clue to combating the greater darkness. As the Pioneer approached the source, the crew discovered an immense space station, unlike anything recorded in Coalition archives. Its architecture was organic, flowing curves that pulsed with bioluminescent light, as if alive. The station seemed to hover in the void, shielded by a shimmering energy field. A message soon came through, not in words, but in emotions and images transmitted directly to the ship's neural interface systems. The crew experienced a collective vision, ancient star maps, battles fought in the skies, and a promise, guardians of the void. An alien presence had been watching. Not enemies, but protectors. Captain Nguyen authorized a docking procedure. The airlock opened with a hiss, revealing beings unlike the luminous envoys from the Coalition. These were more tangible, their forms sturdy, almost humanoid, yet shimmering with an inner light that defied Earth's biology. They identified themselves as the Varu, ancient guardians tasked with defending life from the greater darkness. Our ancestors once fought alongside your coalition, their leader conveyed through the neural link. We have hidden here, recovering, awaiting the moment to stand again. Emma felt a chill. This was a revelation. Earth and the Coalition were not alone in this struggle. The Varu shared their history. Millennia ago, they had battled the darkness with advanced technology and unyielding courage. Though they had lost many worlds, their legacy survived, encoded in the station and in their minds. The darkness evolves, the Varu leader warned. It learns from each conquest. It will test you in ways no one expects. In exchange, the Pioneer crew offered their knowledge of Earth's resources and technology. A fragile alliance formed, bound by the shared goal of survival. Meanwhile, Dr. Patel and the Varu scientists began deciphering the station's archives. Revealing strategies, weapon designs, and energy shields powerful enough to withstand the darkness's assault. Captain Nguyen organized joint training exercises, melding human ingenuity with Varu tactics. But the station's secrets were not just technological. The crew discovered holographic records of ancient philosophical wisdom, meditations on unity, sacrifice, and the light that persists even in the darkest times. Emma pondered the parallels to Earth's own struggles, divisions healed through understanding and cooperation. Yet, tensions lingered. Lieutenant Amir Hassan remained wary. We can't rely solely on ancient guardians. We must prepare for all outcomes. Diplomatic officers encouraged trust and patience. The Alliance's fragile balance was a microcosm of the greater interstellar challenge. As days turned to weeks, the Pioneer grew stronger, a beacon of hope, equipped not only with technology but with newfound resolve. Emma addressed the world again. Today, we stand not as isolated planets but as a constellation of allies, united against the darkness. Together, we will fight for the future of all life. The message resonated across Earth, igniting renewed faith in the mission. Back aboard the Pioneer, the crew gazed out at the swirling stars, knowing the journey was far from over. But with the Varu's guidance and the Coalition's support, humanity's place among the stars was no longer uncertain. It was a promise, that even in the abyss, light endured. For Emma, the answer was clear. Those who fight for hope and unity. The silence of space shattered in an instant. The Pioneer's sensors screamed warnings as a fleet of shadowy vessels emerged from the swirling mists of the greater darkness. They moved like wraiths, sleek, silent, and lethal. The crew's breath caught collectively as the reality of war became undeniable. Captain Sarah Nguyen sprang into action. Battle stations. Activate defense protocols. All hands, prepare for engagement. The Pioneer shuddered as the first salvo of energy bolts streaked past its shields, lighting up the void with deadly precision. The ship's hybrid human-alien technology absorbed the attacks but not without strain. Lieutenant Amir Hassan coordinated the ship's defenses with cold efficiency. Deploy countermeasures. Return fire with plasma cannons. Dr. Ravi Patel monitored the enemy's energy signatures. Their technology is adaptive. It changes with every strike we make. This is unlike any enemy we've faced. The Shadow Fleet advanced, closing in with intent to overwhelm. Captain Nguyen's voice was steady but firm, inspiring the crew despite the danger. We've trained for this. Remember, we fight not just for ourselves but for Earth and every world that depends on us. The battle raged. Explosions rippled through the void, lights flickered, and the Pioneer maneuvered with precision, guided by a combination of human intuition and the Varu's advanced tactical algorithms. Emma Lawson watched anxiously from Earth. The live feed showed the chaos unfolding light years away, humanity's first real taste of interstellar combat. The Pioneer's sensors detected a new development. The enemy vessels began emitting pulses that interfered with the ship's systems, attempting to disable their defenses. Prepare for EMP blast. Lieutenant Hassan warned. The ship's lights dimmed, systems faltered, and panic threatened to break loose. But the crew held firm. Using emergency manual overrides, they restored critical functions. Captain Nguyen ordered a daring counterattack, a focused strike on the lead enemy vessel, hoping to disrupt their formation. The plan worked. The Shadow flagship faltered, sending ripples of confusion through the enemy fleet. Yet, the battle was far from over. Amidst the fighting, the Pioneer detected a faint, urgent signal, a distress call from a nearby Coalition outpost under siege. We have to help them, Nguyen said, her resolve unshaken. With a surge of speed, the Pioneer altered course, weaving through enemy fire to reach the outpost. The scene was grim. The outpost's defenses were crumbling, and Coalition forces were pinned down. The Pioneer unleashed its full firepower, providing cover and evacuating survivors. Among the rescued was an alien scientist, gravely wounded but clutching data crucial to understanding the greater darkness. Back on board, Dr. Patel and the Varu experts worked feverishly to extract and analyze the data. What they uncovered was alarming. The greater darkness was evolving, developing new weapons and tactics specifically designed to counter their defenses. Emma spoke to the world, her voice steady despite the grim news. This battle has shown us the true nature of our enemy. We must adapt, learn, and unite like never before. The Pioneer's crew mourned their losses but drew strength from their victories. Captain Nguyen addressed her team, eyes fierce with determination. This is only the beginning. We face a darkness that threatens everything we hold dear. But together, we will push back the shadows. As the stars wheeled overhead, the Pioneer prepared for the long war ahead, a war not just for survival but for the future of light itself. For Emma and the crew, it was the belief that giving up was not an option. The Pioneer drifted away from the remnants of the battered coalition outpost, the silence between battles settling like a heavy fog over the crew. Captain Sarah Nguyen stood on the command deck, eyes scanning the vastness outside the viewport, stars distant and cold, but still shimmering with possibility. The battle had taken its toll, but the war was far from over. Everyone, listen up, Nguyen's voice cut through the hum of the ship's systems. We've faced the greater darkness and lived to tell the tale. Now, it's time to prepare for what's next. We can't keep fighting with yesterday's tools. In the war room, Dr. Ravi Patel was already at work, surrounded by holographic schematics and data feeds. The alien scientist rescued from the outpost, a member of the coalition's research cadre named Errol, had become a vital partner. Her insights into the darkness's evolving tactics gave the human scientists crucial leads. The enemy's adaptive weaponry is linked to quantum phase shifting, Errol explained, her voice steady but tinged with urgency. They manipulate spacetime at a fundamental level, which is why our defenses faltered. The Pioneer's engineers, alongside coalition and Varu experts, began developing the next generation of defensive systems, energy shields capable of rapid reconfiguration, weapons tuned to disrupt quantum manipulations, and advanced AI to predict and counter enemy tactics in real time. The challenges were immense. Resources were limited, the enemy's unpredictability daunting, and time growing short. Lieutenant Amir Hassan, ever pragmatic, voiced concerns during a tense meeting. Innovation is essential, but so is survival. We need immediate solutions to keep this ship and crew safe while the new tech is being developed. Captain Nguyen acknowledged the point. Agreed. We'll maintain current defensive protocols, but the long game is innovation. We have no choice. Meanwhile, diplomatic channels expanded. Messages flew back and forth between Earth, the Coalition, and the Varu. Other species, previously unknown, began to emerge from the cosmic shadows, drawn by the shared threat. Among them were the Lasari, a mysterious race of energy beings whose understanding of spacetime manipulation rivaled that of the darkness itself. Negotiations were delicate, centuries of mistrust between species complicated alliance building. But the urgency of survival forced compromises. Emma watched the fragile diplomacy unfold, hopeful but wary. This is a test of not just technology but of trust. On board the Pioneer, joint training sessions combined Lasari energy manipulation techniques with Varu combat strategies and human ingenuity. The crew adapted quickly, finding strength in diversity. In one breakthrough moment, Dr. Patel and Errol discovered a pattern within the darkness's energy fluctuations, a weak point in their quantum phase shifts that could be exploited. This is our chance, Patel said, eyes bright. If we can focus energy bursts at this resonance frequency, we might disrupt their coherence. Captain Nguyen quickly authorized tests. After several nerve-wracking trials, the new weapon prototypes began to show promise. Yet, the toll was evident. Supplies dwindled, exhaustion mounted, and the psychological weight of war pressed down. Emma spoke directly to the global audience in a broadcast designed to inspire. In the face of unimaginable odds, humanity and its allies choose hope. We innovate, we unite, and we fight for the future we want to see. On Earth, volunteers in every nation rallied behind the mission, sending messages of support, resources, and unyielding faith. Elon Musk, in a rare televised appearance, summed up the mood succinctly. We're witnessing the dawn of a new chapter, not just for space exploration, but for the very survival of life as we know it. Innovation and unity will be our weapons. Back on the Pioneer, as the new technologies were integrated, the crew's confidence grew. Captain Nguyen looked to her team. We've taken the first step toward turning the tide. The darkness is formidable, but we are more than survivors. We are pioneers. The journey ahead remained perilous, but armed with new allies and breakthroughs, the fight was no longer one-sided. In the vast darkness, a spark of light flickered, humanity's unyielding spirit. For Emma and the Pioneer crew, it was the fusion of knowledge, courage, and hope. The Pioneer was no longer the vulnerable ship that had limped away from the last battle. Now, armed with cutting-edge technology, a coalition of allies, and the unyielding spirit of its crew, it prepared for a mission that could turn the tide of the war, a direct strike into the core of the greater darkness. Captain Sarah Nguyen stood on the command deck, her silhouette framed by the endless blackness outside the viewport. The stars seemed distant and indifferent, but inside, the weight of the mission pressed down on everyone. Today, she said, addressing the crew gathered around her, we embark on a path that few have dared to take. We go to the heart of the darkness, to confront the source and disrupt its destructive path. Her voice was steady, but the undercurrent of urgency was clear. The fate of Earth, the Coalition, and countless civilizations hung in the balance. Dr. Ravi Patel and Errol, the Coalition scientist, had spent weeks analyzing the enemy's energy patterns, mapping a route through the turbulent void that surrounded the core. The plan was to deliver a concentrated energy burst, tuned to the resonance frequency discovered earlier, in hopes of destabilizing the darkness itself. Lieutenant Amir Hassan, coordinating security, laid out the risks. This mission is high risk. The enemy will defend their core fiercely. We expect heavy resistance. Captain Nguyen nodded. We've trained for this. We have the technology and the allies. Failure is not an option. Emma Lawson, watching live from Earth's command center, addressed the global audience. The Pioneer and its crew are about to undertake a mission that could define our future. We ask all of humanity to stand united in hope and support. Elon Musk, present in the control room, echoed the sentiment. This is more than a mission. It's a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. We believe in our explorers out there. The Pioneers' preparations were meticulous. Engineers calibrated the new energy weapons, shield generators hummed at maximum capacity, and communication arrays synchronized with Coalition and Vara vessels for real-time support. As the ship entered the final approach, the cosmic storm of the greater darkness loomed, a swirling maelstrom of shadows and pulsing energy, alive and menacing. The ship's sensors detected waves of quantum distortions that threatened to tear it apart. The crew held fast, trusting their technology and each other. Suddenly, the Shadow Fleet emerged once again, more numerous and aggressive than before. The Pioneer engaged in a fierce battle, weaving through enemy fire, its new weapons striking with precision. Captain Nguyen's voice cut through the chaos. Hold the line. Focus fire on the core's defenses. Dr. Patel monitored energy fluctuations in real time, guiding the weapons systems. Target the resonance points. Now. With a surge of power, the Pioneer unleashed the coordinated energy burst, a brilliant pulse of light that rippled through the darkness. For a moment, silence. Then, the core trembled, the darkness's energy fields destabilized, wavering as if wounded. But the victory was fleeting. The enemy retaliated with ferocity, flooding the Pioneer's shields and pushing the ship to its limits. Lieutenant Hassan coordinated defensive maneuvers. Shields at 30%. Brace for impact. Explosions rocked the ship. Systems failed and rebooted. The crew's resolve was tested like never before. Captain Nguyen gritted her teeth. Keep fighting. We're not done. Amid the storm, the ship's AI detected a critical vulnerability in the darkness's structure. Dr. Patel seized the moment. If we concentrate the next burst here, it could cause a cascade failure. The crew rallied for one final strike. Energy surged through the ship's core weapons, channeling every ounce of power into the targeted point. The darkness convulsed, then began to fragment, breaking apart like shattered glass. The shadow fleet scattered, retreating into the void. The Pioneer emerged battered but victorious. Captain Nguyen allowed herself a moment to breathe. We did it. The darkness is retreating. Emma and Elon, watching on Earth, erupted in applause, their relief palpable. But Nguyen knew the war was not over. This victory was a turning point, not the end. The crew began repair protocols and prepared to return home, but the message was clear. Humanity and its allies had faced the abyss and struck a blow that would echo across the stars. For Sarah, it was the courage to stand firm, the strength of her crew, and the hope for a brighter future. The Pioneer drifted through the aftermath of the battle, its hull scarred and systems strained but holding firm. The stars outside seemed to twinkle with renewed hope, yet inside the ship, a quiet tension hung in the air. The crew was exhausted, yet alert, aware that the victory against the greater darkness might have opened new doors, or unveiled deeper mysteries. Captain Sarah Nguyen sat quietly in her command chair, staring at the star maps flickering on the console before her. The mission had dealt a crippling blow to the enemy, fracturing their core and scattering their fleet. But something else had been detected in the wake of the chaos, a hidden transmission, faint but unmistakably alien, embedded deep within the disrupted quantum waves. Dr. Ravi Patel was the first to notice it, his eyes wide with a mixture of excitement and concern. "Captain, you need to hear this," he said, his voice low but urgent. "There's a signal, it wasn't there before the strike. It's encoded in the remnants of the darkness's energy field." The room gathered around Patel as he connected the ship's decoding interface to the transmission. The alien symbols and patterns streamed across the display, shifting into recognizable shapes and sounds. Emma Lawson, monitoring from Earth, was immediately brought into the loop. Her voice, calm but curious, filled the ship's comms. "What is it? A distress call? A warning?" Patel shook his head slowly. "It's a message. But not from the enemy. From something else, something ancient." The holographic display transformed, revealing an archive of images and data that seemed to predate even the oldest known civilizations. Star charts mapped unknown regions, and recordings depicted a peaceful race of beings communicating through light and sound, transmitting knowledge across galaxies. Captain Nguyen's eyes narrowed. Could this be the origin of the darkness? Or a force opposing it? Errol, the coalition scientist who had become a trusted advisor, stepped forward. "This transmission appears to be a beacon, a guide left behind by a vanished civilization. They call themselves the Lumari. They warn of the darkness, but also speak of a hidden sanctuary." The revelation sent a ripple of awe and hope through the crew. The Lumari might hold the key to understanding the enemy, and perhaps a way to end the war. As the Pioneer adjusted course to investigate the coordinates embedded in the transmission, tension mixed with cautious optimism. The path would take them beyond known space, into the uncharted void where few had ventured. Lieutenant Amir Hassan voiced the concerns that hung heavy in the air. "We don't know what awaits us. This could be a trap, or worse." Captain Nguyen nodded. "We move forward with eyes wide open. But the alternative, doing nothing, isn't an option." Back on Earth, Emma addressed the world once again. "The journey continues. What we've uncovered changes everything. It reminds us that even in the darkest times, there are lights shining, beacons of hope left by those who came before us." Elon Musk appeared beside her, his expression solemn yet inspired. "This is the frontier of human exploration, not just of space, but of understanding our place in the universe." The Lumari's message is a call to unity and perseverance. As the Pioneer ventured into the unknown, the crew prepared for what lay ahead. They were explorers once more, seekers of truth in a cosmos filled with both wonder and peril. The chapter closed on the crew gathered around the ship's observation dome, watching distant stars as they charted a course toward the Lumari's sanctuary, a journey that promised answers, and perhaps salvation. For the Pioneer crew, it was the legacy of light left behind by those who believed in hope. The Pioneer cut through the silent expanse of uncharted space, the coordinates from the Lumari transmission glowing steadily on the navigation console. The crew gathered in the observation dome, eyes fixed on the horizon where a faint shimmer pulsed like a heartbeat against the dark velvet of the cosmos. Captain Sarah Nguyen's voice broke the quiet. "We're approaching the sanctuary. This is what we've been searching for." The star charts, overlaid with the Lumari's own maps, showed a cluster of ancient structures orbiting a dying star, artifacts of a civilization long vanished but still radiating a subtle energy signature. The sanctuary was a place of knowledge, of hope, and potentially, the weapon against the darkness. Dr. Ravi Patel studied the readings, his fingers dancing across the controls. "The energy here is unlike anything we've encountered. It's stable but powerful. The Lumari must have harnessed it to protect themselves and send out their message." Errol added, "It's a beacon and a fortress. But it's also a puzzle. The sanctuary's systems are encrypted with ancient protocols. We'll need to decipher them to unlock its secrets." The Pioneer's crew divided their focus between securing the ship's safety and preparing to explore the sanctuary. Meanwhile, distant signals hinted the greater darkness might still lurk nearby, waiting. Lieutenant Amir Hassan coordinated the ship's defenses. "We can't afford to be caught off guard. Shields at full power. Weapons ready." Captain Nguyen nodded. "Stay vigilant. This sanctuary might be our salvation, but it's also a trap." The first step was a cautious approach. The Pioneer sent out drones equipped with scanning arrays to map the sanctuary's surface and analyze its defenses. The drones transmitted breathtaking images, crystalline towers rising from the star's orbit, interconnected by webs of glowing energy. Emma Lawson's broadcast to Earth captured the crew's excitement and tension. "This discovery reminds us that the universe is vast and filled with mysteries. The Lumari left behind a message of hope, and it's up to us to carry that legacy forward." Elon Musk's commentary highlighted the mission's broader implications. Exploration is not just about technology, it's about understanding. The Lumari Sanctuary offers a glimpse into what advanced civilizations can achieve when they work together. Inside the Pioneer, the team worked around the clock to decrypt the sanctuary's codes. The ancient protocols required a blend of human intuition, Vara technology, and Lasari energy manipulation to unlock. After hours of effort, a breakthrough, the sanctuary's core chamber opened, revealing a vast repository of knowledge, star charts, histories, and data on the nature of the greater darkness. Captain Nguyen read from one of the digital tomes, her voice steady. The Lumari described the darkness as a cosmic force of entropy, a shadow that consumes light and life. But they also speak of a heart of luminescence, a source of pure energy that can counter the darkness. The discovery electrified the crew. If the heart of luminescence was real, it could be the key to ending the war. But unlocking its power required activating the sanctuary's ancient mechanisms, a task fraught with danger. As the Pioneer's engineers began the complex process, unexpected alarms blared. Sensors detected a sudden surge of energy from deep within the sanctuary, a protective system awakening. The sanctuary was not dormant after all. Security drones, ancient but still operational, sprang to life. Their sleek forms moved with precision, weapons charging. Lieutenant Hassan ordered the crew to battle stations. The Pioneer engaged in a tense standoff with the sanctuary's guardians, using non-lethal tactics to disable the drones while minimizing damage to the ancient systems. Captain Nguyen's voice was calm but firm. "We're not enemies. We seek to protect, to learn, and to fight the darkness. Stand down." After a tense negotiation mediated through the ship's AI and the sanctuary's protocols, the Guardians ceased their attack. Errol interpreted the exchange. The sanctuary tests those who seek its power, only the worthy may access the heart of luminescence. With trust established, the crew proceeded to activate the sanctuary's core. As energy coursed through the ancient conduits, the Pioneer hummed in resonance, lights brightening throughout the ship. Dr. Patel smiled. "We're connected now, to the Lumari's legacy and to a power that might save us all." But the sanctuary's activation sent a beacon far beyond their immediate vicinity, a flare that would surely draw the attention of the greater darkness once more. Captain Nguyen prepared her crew for the inevitable. "We've gained knowledge and power, but the fight is far from over. We must be ready." As the Pioneer prepared to leave the sanctuary, the stars outside seemed to pulse in rhythm with the newfound hope inside. For the Pioneer's crew, the answer lay in unity, a light strong enough to pierce even the deepest shadows. The Pioneer floated in the vast silence of space, but the quiet was deceptive. The activation of the Lumari Sanctuary's core had sent a powerful beacon echoing across the void, a signal impossible to ignore. As the crew prepared to depart, a grim reality settled in. The greater darkness knew exactly where they were. Captain Sarah Nguyen stood on the bridge, the weight of command pressing on her shoulders heavier than ever. The stars outside seemed to dim, as if recoiling from the truth that the war was far from over. "Status report," she demanded. Lieutenant Amir Hassan's voice crackled over the comms. "Enemy vessels detected on long-range sensors. They're converging fast, more than we've seen before." Dr. Ravi Patel, eyes glued to his instruments, added, "The beacon's energy signature is unmistakable. They're homing in on the sanctuary's activation." The Pioneer's crew immediately shifted into high alert. Weapons were armed, shields reinforced, and every system readied for battle. But this time, they had a new weapon, the knowledge and power gleaned from the Lumari Sanctuary. Emma Lawson, broadcasting live from Earth's command center, addressed a global audience with a mixture of caution and hope. The Pioneer's discovery is a turning point, but it also invites greater danger. Humanity and its allies face their greatest challenge yet. We ask all to stand united in support of our brave explorers. Elon Musk appeared alongside her, his gaze intense but resolute. "This is the moment when innovation meets destiny. The technology and wisdom from the Lumari could be our salvation, but only if we stand firm." Inside the Pioneer, the crew worked tirelessly to integrate the sanctuary's energy into their ship systems. Dr. Patel and Errol collaborated to adapt the Heart of Luminescence's power, channeling it into a new kind of shield and weapon system. The ship hummed with renewed energy, a fusion of ancient technology and human ingenuity. Captain Nguyen convened a strategy meeting with her senior officers. "We can't outrun them. We have to fight. But this time, we fight smarter, with the sanctuary's power." Lieutenant Hassan laid out their plan. "We'll use the Heart's energy to create a protective barrier around the sanctuary coordinates, a trap that draws them in. Then, we strike with everything we've got." The crew understood the stakes. This confrontation could end the war, or destroy them all. As the enemy fleet approached, the Pioneer positioned itself strategically near the sanctuary, its new shields glowing with radiant energy. The tension was palpable. Outside, shadowy forms appeared on the sensors, advancing relentlessly. The battle began with a fury that shook the ship. Enemy ships fired energy pulses that clashed against the heart-powered shields, sparking brilliant light shows in the void. Captain Nguyen coordinated attacks, her voice steady despite the chaos. "Focus fire on the lead ships. Protect the sanctuary." The crew fought with every ounce of skill and determination. The Pioneer's new weapons, powered by the Lumari energy, cut through enemy ranks with unprecedented efficiency. But the greater darkness was relentless, adapting quickly to their tactics. Suddenly, the ship's AI alerted the bridge to an incoming massive strike, a concentrated wave of dark energy designed to overwhelm the Heart's power. Dr. Patel scrambled to respond. "We need to amplify the energy output or the shields will fail." Errol assisted, manipulating the sanctuary's technology in ways no one had anticipated. With a surge, the Heart of Luminescence flared, pushing back the wave and stabilizing the shields. But at a cost. Power systems overloaded, and several sections of the ship went dark. Lieutenant Hassan reported damage to the engines. "We're losing maneuverability." Captain Nguyen faced a critical decision. Divert all remaining energy to propulsion and weapons. We either break their formation or become sitting targets. The crew rallied, pushing the Pioneer beyond its limits. The ship surged forward, weaving through enemy fire, delivering a devastating counterattack that fractured the Darkness's fleet. As the enemy retreated, a new message arrived from the Sanctuary's AI, a warning. The heart of luminescence is finite. Continued use risks destabilizing the Sanctuary's core. Captain Nguyen's expression hardened. "We have power, but not forever. We must use it wisely." Back on Earth, Emma and Elon reflected on the victory's price. "Today's battle showed our resilience," Emma said, "but also our vulnerability. The road ahead is uncertain." Elon added, "It reminds us that progress requires sacrifice. But humanity's spirit, and our allies, will see us through." As the Pioneer limped away from the Sanctuary, the crew prepared for the final phase of their mission, to find a permanent solution to the darkness before their power ran out. The stars outside shone brighter, a silent promise that hope endured even in the face of overwhelming shadow. For the Pioneer's crew, every decision was a step toward the light, even when the path was uncertain. The Pioneer moved slowly through the darkened expanse of space, its engines straining after the fierce battle at the Lumari Sanctuary. The ship's hull groaned under the weight of the damage, but its crew pressed on, knowing that the war was far from over. Captain Sarah Nguyen stood before the large viewport, gazing at the stars that stretched out before them. She had never felt more isolated. The darkness had been pushed back, but only temporarily. They had one shot left. The heart of luminescence's power was finite, and each use brought them closer to the inevitable, a confrontation with the heart of the darkness itself. "Captain, we've lost contact with the majority of our support fleets," Lieutenant Amir Hassan reported from the operations table, his face grim. "The enemy is regrouping. They're learning. Adapting." The weight of those words hung heavily in the air. The darkness was no longer just a mindless force. It was becoming intelligent, more strategic, more dangerous with every engagement. Dr. Ravi Patel, his eyes bloodshot from hours of analysis, sat hunched over the ship's console. "I've analyzed the Sanctuary's core message one more time. There's a hidden protocol embedded in the system, something the Lumari didn't transmit openly, but it could be the key to the darkness. It's a fail-safe." Captain Nguyen turned her attention to Patel. "A fail-safe?" "A self-destructive mechanism," Patel replied. "The Lumari created it to prevent the heart of luminescence from falling into the wrong hands. It could erase all trace of the heart's power and send the darkness back to where it came from. But activating it requires a sacrifice." A chill ran down Captain Nguyen's spine. "What kind of sacrifice?" "Someone needs to stay behind and trigger the fail-safe manually," Patel said, looking up from the console. "There's no way to do it remotely. The systems are too intricate, too ancient. Whoever does this won't make it back." A heavy silence settled over the room. The crew had faced countless challenges, but the prospect of sacrificing one of their own for the sake of the entire galaxy was different. This wasn't just another battle, it was a choice between saving everything or losing everything. Emma Lawson's voice crackled over the intercom. "Sarah, we're receiving a message from Earth. They've been tracking the situation." Nguyen took a deep breath before answering. "Patch it through." Emma's face appeared on the main screen. "We're with you all the way, Sarah," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "But we need to know, what's the plan? Can we end this?" Captain Nguyen met Emma's gaze through the screen. "We found a way. But it comes with a price. The Sanctuary's failsafe can destroy the darkness, but it requires someone to stay behind and activate it manually. Whoever does it won't make it out alive." The room went quiet once more. The crew exchanged glances, knowing that their next steps would define the future of humanity. Elon Musk's voice came through next, calm and resolute. We've come too far to stop now. If the fail-safe works, we end the war. But it's not just a battle against the darkness anymore. It's a battle for the soul of humanity. If someone is willing to make that sacrifice, they will be remembered as the heroes of our time. Captain Nguyen closed her eyes, her mind racing. I need time to think. We'll come up with a plan. A few hours later, the crew gathered again. The Pioneer was now in the dark reaches of space, far from any other civilization. Time was running out. We don't have much left to go on, Lieutenant Hassan said. The darkness is getting closer. We have to make a choice now. Dr. Patel added, the sanctuary's failsafe will work. I'm sure of it. But it will take a few minutes to fully power up the system. We'll need to buy time, delay the darkness, keep it distracted. Captain Nguyen nodded. We can't afford any more mistakes. We need to make sure that once we activate the failsafe, the darkness can't stop it. Her eyes scanned the crew's faces. I'll stay behind. A collective gasp filled the room. Lieutenant Hassan was the first to react, his voice filled with disbelief. Captain, you can't. You're our leader. Without you, we. Without this, we all lose, Captain Nguyen interrupted, her voice firm. This is the only way to stop it. If we don't act now, the darkness will swallow everything, Earth, our families, everything. I'll stay with you, Lieutenant Hassan said, his voice thick with emotion. If anyone's going to make that sacrifice, it should be one of us. But Captain Nguyen shook her head. No. I'm the one who led us here. I'll be the one to finish this. The rest of you have families, futures. You'll carry on the fight. You'll ensure that the darkness never returns. Tears welled in Lieutenant Hassan's eyes, but he didn't argue. He understood the burden of leadership, the price of responsibility. The crew stood together, united by a shared purpose, but the weight of their choices hung heavy on their hearts. Once the failsafe is activated, the Pioneer will be destroyed, Dr. Patel said softly, as if to confirm the inevitable. It's a one-way mission. I know, Captain Nguyen replied. But we've come too far to turn back now. This is the only way to ensure the survival of everything we've worked for. The crew shared a final moment of silence. Then, one by one, they nodded, understanding that the path forward would demand everything of them. They would not let their sacrifice be in vain. Captain Nguyen turned to her crew, her voice full of quiet resolve. It's time. We'll prepare the ship to carry out the failsafe. Everyone has a role to play. Make sure it's done right. The crew moved swiftly to prepare for the final phase. As the Pioneer entered the shadow of the greater darkness, the ship's systems hummed to life, drawing on the last of the Lumari's power. The heart of the darkness loomed ahead, a swirling mass of energy that threatened to consume the universe itself. The countdown to the fail-safe began. Captain Nguyen stood before the ship's central console, ready to carry out the final act. As the minutes ticked away, she reflected on the journey that had brought them here. The Pioneer's mission had started with the unknown, with the question of whether humanity had the will to survive. And now, it was clear, they had the will, and the courage, to do whatever it took to protect the future. The crew gathered around her, ready to say their final goodbyes. Sarah, Lieutenant Hassan began, but she raised a hand. No time for goodbyes. We've done our job. Now it's time to finish it. She turned to the console and, with one final glance at the crew, activated the failsafe. A brilliant light erupted from the ship's core, engulfing everything in its path. The darkness shrieked, its form unraveling, dissipating as if the very fabric of its existence was being torn apart. Captain Nguyen's final words echoed in the minds of her crew, "This is for all of us. This is for the future." For the crew of the Pioneer, the answer was everything, even their lives. But in doing so, they ensured that hope would live on. The Pioneer was gone. The bright pulse of energy that had erupted from its core consumed everything, folding into itself and dissipating like the final note of a dying song. The sacrifice had been made, and with it, the darkness that had plagued the universe was no more. In the aftermath, there was nothing but silence. Back on Earth, humanity sat on the edge of an uncertain future. The news of Captain Saren Wen's ultimate sacrifice, and the destruction of the Pioneer, swept across the world in a wave of shock, grief, and awe. People gathered in homes, on streets, in public squares, their eyes fixed on their screens as the final moments of the mission played out in real time. Emma Lawson, standing before a global audience in the Earth Command Center, held her composure, but there was an unmistakable sorrow in her eyes. We are left with a galaxy free from the clutches of the darkness, but also without the brave souls who made it possible. Captain Saren Gwyn and the crew of the Pioneer gave everything to ensure our survival. We owe them more than we could ever repay. A moment of silence spread across the globe, a collective acknowledgement of the weight of their loss. But then, as Emma continued, there was a glimmer of hope. But from the ashes of their sacrifice, a new dawn rises. The darkness is gone. The universe is free. Elon Musk, now a prominent figure in humanity's efforts to rebuild and explore, stood beside her. His voice, usually filled with pragmatism and calculated optimism, now carried a deeper, more reflective tone. We knew the risks. We knew that innovation often comes at a cost. But this is the price of survival. This is the price of progress. The Pioneer's crew has ensured that the darkness will never return. We are forever in their debt. The camera zoomed out, showing a global map as nations stood united in the aftermath. The darkness was gone, and now humanity, along with its interstellar allies, could begin the monumental task of rebuilding. The universe, once teetering on the brink of annihilation, had been given a second chance. The silence in space was absolute. No enemy fleet, no pulses of dark energy, no looming shadows, just a vast emptiness, as if the universe itself was catching its breath. The crew of the Pioneer was no more, but their legacy lived on in the heartbeat of every surviving soul on Earth and across the stars. Humanity had faced its darkest hour and emerged victorious, but the path forward was uncertain. In the war room aboard Earth Central Command, leaders from around the world gathered. There was no celebration, only a somber realization that the price had been paid. General Marco Reyes, who had coordinated Earth's defense against the darkness, addressed the room with quiet resolve. The Pioneer saved us all. But now, we have to honor their sacrifice by ensuring we never face this kind of threat again. The Lumari's technology, their power, is something we need to understand. We can't let it fall into the wrong hands. There were murmurs of agreement around the table. The Lumari Sanctuary's knowledge had become a crucial piece in humanity's defense arsenal. The energy signature, the technology, it was powerful, and with it, they could rebuild. But as General Reyes had said, it was dangerous. It could be used for good, or it could be weaponized by those who sought power. Dr. Ravi Patel, who had been part of the crew, was now a leading expert in Lumari technology. He'd returned to Earth, his mind still reeling from the events aboard the Pioneer, and now he was instrumental in deciphering the Lumari data. I've analyzed every fragment of the Sanctuary's archives, he said, his voice tinged with exhaustion but also excitement. We've learned how to harness their power, but we need to be cautious. The heart of luminescence, in its raw form, is too unstable. But if we develop the right protocols, we can use it responsibly, to create energy, to protect our colonies, and maybe even to restore damaged ecosystems on Earth. Emma Lawson, now heading Earth's Global Coalition for Recovery, placed a hand on Patel's shoulder. We've seen what this technology can do. But we must never forget the cost. We cannot repeat the mistakes of the past. In the weeks that followed, the remnants of the darkness were systematically cleared from the galaxy. Earth's allies, the Lasari, the Varu, and the other species who had fought alongside humanity, worked together in unity, ensuring that the peace they had fought for would not be shattered. The Lumari technology, once a mystery, had now become a beacon for the future. It was used not only to strengthen Earth's defenses but to build a new era of intergalactic cooperation. Together, they restored communication networks across the galaxy, re-established trade routes, and even began to terraform and restore devastated planets. The Pioneer's crew had not only saved the universe but also set into motion a new chapter of exploration and discovery. Lieutenant Amir Hassan, now back on Earth and leading the efforts to establish new defense protocols, spoke at a press conference with a quiet, respectful tone. "We never expected to come home. We knew the risks, but we also knew we had no choice. Sarah's sacrifice, the sacrifice of all those aboard the Pioneer, was for everyone. Now, it's our job to honor that sacrifice by building a future worthy of their memory." Months later, a memorial was unveiled in the heart of Earth's capital, a grand monument dedicated to the heroes of the Pioneer. It stood tall, a symbol of unity, hope, and the ultimate sacrifice made in the name of survival. The monument was not only a tribute to the crew but a reminder to future generations of the price of peace. Captain Saren Wen's name was inscribed on the central pillar, surrounded by the names of every member of the Pioneer crew. The monument overlooked a park, a place for reflection and remembrance, where visitors could stand and gaze out at the stars, knowing that the darkness would never return. On the anniversary of their sacrifice, Earth's leaders and representatives from the allied species gathered at the memorial. Emma Lawson delivered the speech, her voice steady, filled with reverence. "We remember those who gave their lives for us. But we also remember the lesson they taught us, that in the darkest of times, it is our unity, our hope, and our willingness to sacrifice for the greater good that will light the way." As the ceremony concluded, Elon Musk spoke briefly to the crowd, his usual confidence tempered with sincerity. "Humanity has always been defined by our ability to adapt, to overcome, and to move forward. The Pioneer's crew did not just save us. They created a new path, one where we work together, one where we understand that our survival depends on more than just technology. It depends on our spirit, on our willingness to make hard choices." Years passed, and the galaxy slowly healed. Earth expanded its reach beyond its own solar system, establishing new colonies and sending missions to distant stars. The Pioneer's data continued to be used in scientific exploration, and the Lumari's technology had sparked a renaissance of innovation across all worlds. The Pioneer's crew had unknowingly laid the foundation for a future they would never see. A future where humans, Lasari, Varu, and other species worked side by side, not out of necessity but out of a shared understanding that peace, once achieved, was fragile and must be nurtured. The darkness, once a looming presence, was now but a memory. The stars no longer felt cold and distant but warm and full of potential. And though the crew was gone, their legacy, their names, their sacrifices, lived on in the hearts of those who followed, in the galaxies they saved, and in the future they had carved from the dark. For the survivors, the answer was clear, a future defined by unity, by progress, and by the never-ending pursuit of light, no matter how dark the universe may seem. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. What do you think the future holds after humanity's greatest victory?